Hey guys, Rainbow coming right at you with another tutorial, and this time we're looking at how to properly attach your Kevlar wick to whatever fire prop you're going to build or repair or whatever. Due to popular demand, I decided to redo this tutorial, and I'm using a devilstick in this case, which I'm gonna repair for a friend. And yeah, so I'm gonna do a step-by-step walkthrough of how I do my fire gear and of how I think is a pretty good method of doing this. Yeah, so bear with me, this is what we're gonna do. So here, as you can see, my beautiful workbench. And yeah, so this is the fire devil stick that we're going to rebuild. I've taken the old wicks off already. Just before we start, just walk you through what you need for this. Obviously, you need that toy that you want to build, repair, or whatever. In this case, fire devil stick. I'm just going to redo the wicks on the outside. You need the Kevlar over here. I'm going to include a link in the description because I've been asked where to get Kevlar, what is Kevlar and all this kind of thing. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video, so check that out. And other things that you may need, cloth tape, which is this kind of thing, masking tape, screws to fit it, a screwdriver, some piece of paper to mark off where the screws are gonna go, a hammer, a marker, some pliers, multi-tool always comes in handy. You need Kevlar thread and a thick-ish needle, and I'm going to explain later on in the video why. So now let's set up the camera and get started. So guys, first things you want to do, which I've obviously done already, is cut the Kevlar into the shape that you want to have and into the length of it. Like this is roughly a feet. There's two of them here, so one for each side. Depending on how big you want the flames to be, like choose less or more Kevlar. For a devil stick like this, I recommend anything between a foot and, well, max 50 centimeters or something like that. So 30 to 50 centimeters will do the trick, although 50 centimeters gives you a huge flame, and because that thing is really short, it's going to be a lot of fire right next to your face and next to your body. But, so Kevlar is done, so over here, and so first things you want to do, obviously, you got those holes here where the screws are going to go. To find that, you want to mask it off. What you do is, like, you take a piece of masking tape. This works great. I'm loving this. Awesome. You put it up here on the side where the screws are. Alright, just have it sit there. And then you take your marker pen and you mark, just put a line here where the screws are. So as you can see, it's like this line is aligning with those holes here. So later on, when I have the Kevlar wrapped around it, it's going to be easier to find these. Second marking to do this, what you need a piece of paper for is, like, put a piece of paper next to those holes, and on the very edge of your devil stick, and do the same thing. You just mark a line here and a line here, just to give you an idea of where on the devil stick or whatever poi head or whatever you're making, it's like where the holes are going to be, because later on this is going to be wrapped with Kevlar. You can just put a paper here and then it makes it easier to find them. Alright, have that set. Alright, now that we have our markings for where the holes are going to be, next step will just be put the Kevlar on. We need the masking, the cloth tape for that. For those of you who don't know, cloth tape is just a fairly thickish kind of tape. You need about that much maybe, and yeah, you use that to attach the Kevlar here, because if you don't attach the Kevlar with tape on the inside, you're going to have a hard time wrapping it around it really tight. I mean, you can always wrap it around, but you're not going to get enough tension on it, you're not going to get enough pull on it if it's not attached to the inside somehow. So this is what I'm going to do. Also, when you've already cut the Kevlar into the length that you want it to be, you need the end lining up just right on top of where the screw holes are. And to make sure that's going to happen, you can just sort of put it around there really loosely, just to give you an idea of, like, when you start here, like in my case, when I start here, You know, you can see it there. I'm going to end up over here because this is going to be wrapped over, folded and stitched. I want it to sort of line up like this because this is where the holes are going to be. So I want the end to be roughly here. So I know I have to start just right where the holes are. Just do that to figure this out. And other thing you can do is just take your Kevlar, don't cut it beforehand, attach it, wrap it around till you have the amount of Kevlar, the thickness that you want, and then cut it where you need to be cut. So, how to attach it? Take the piece of glass tape, put it in the middle, put something about 5 centimeters or so on the Kevlar right in the middle, right, like so, just right there, and then put the Kevlar to where you want it to start, align the edges, and then just tape it down. There we go. And now, so this is taped around here now, and now I can really get a nice tight pull around this. Just make sure all the excess bits are inside. There we go. Just get a nice tight pull around here. Because the thing is, the tighter you pull this, the less likely it is to come loose. And see how it absolutely did not work what I wanted to show you earlier. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. So just fold this over to about 1 centimeter or so. Remember, like if you're putting the screws in, you want to be screwing through this bit here and the folded bit here. So make sure that you fold enough, like let's say, I don't know, 1 inch maybe, like 2 centimeters or so. Alright, now this is how I want it to be. Just wrap it real tight, and now you see I'm totally away from where I want it to end up. I'm not at all close to those screw holes that are marked, so I'm over here. We need to screw in here, but the screw holes are over here. It is not a problem. So what you can easily do is just hold that tight and tilt it backwards, and there you go. You won't lose any tension on this, you just won't. And if you hold that tight. Now, this is number 1. Number 2 will be finding the screw holes here. Alright, so in order to find where you're going to put the screws in through the Kevlar, line up the little line that you've marked here with the edge of the paper, as well as line the edge of the paper with the edge of the staff end, right? Just in case you didn't wrap the Kevlar tight enough, or you just ended up, and then you have the 2 lines here, and then just mark it on the Kevlar. But these are just going to be orientation marks because you can't be 100% sure that this is going to be where you need to be. But now I have markings on here, as you can see right next to my thumb. There's the markings, and now all you need to do is screw, don't let go of this by the way, is screw in through here. And theoretically, like if you aim it right, if the screw goes down straight, okay, and if you aim it right, theoretically you should be able to just hit that hole and it's gonna be okay. So let's do that. Just gonna set up this nice and easy until I eventually I'm not using any power tools because I kind of need to feel if I'm actually getting towards that hole or not. And it looks good. This is gripping tight. See, there you go, first try, and yeah, it's all solid. Now we're going to do the same thing for the second screw, and then we can remove this bit. Alright guys, as you can see, I've fit in the second screw as well, and they sit in there nice and tight, and it's all easy. This bit can actually be a bit of a hustle if you don't get the markings right, but with the sheet of paper and the tape here and the markings, it was actually really easy. Like, this whole assembling took me less than maybe 5 minutes. It's just gonna get, it was just longer because I'm doing this tutorial. But anyways, so now you take off the tape here, And yeah, and that's it. It's a nice clean edge because we folded it over. Don't worry about those excess bits over here, they're just gonna burn off. And yeah, that's it. So for most of you, you could just leave it at that and you'll be done. And to be fair, this is what I'm gonna do now because that's actually really tight. I'm quite happy with the outcome of this, and I don't need to do any stitching, and also hurt my thumb the other day and can't really put much pressure from this hand. But as I was saying earlier, there was something about you might need a Kevlar thread, you might need a needle, you might need pliers and a hammer, and that is because depending on the sort of prop that you're doing, depending on the sort of poi wrap or poi head or staff head that you're doing, if you have these bits being a little bit loose, which they are absolutely not, right? If you have them a bit loose, you need just take that Kevlar thread and then stitch it. Just go from the top here, go through there, go back here, back up there, just stitch the edges together, go around here once, okay? And you can do the same thing here. If you find that this is a little bit loose, which it absolutely is not, just give it a stitching here, just give it a cross stitch here, along here, and back here. And because if you have wrapped this really tight, this is fairly solid. So it takes a lot of pressure to put the needle through. This is why you might need to hammer. This is why the needle itself should be a bit thicker. This is why you might need the pliers to just pull it through and all that kind of thing. I'm going to show you how to do the stitching when I'm going to redo my palm torch tutorial, because I have to make another set of not palm torches, fire torches. I'm going to have to make another tutorial. I'll leave the link up below here. So I'm going to show you how to do the stitching, but today this is going to be it. So we're not going to stitch these heads. They're just fine as they are. Alright guys, as you can see, put on the second wig as well. So the devil stick is all good to go. It's all ready. As you can see, again, nice and tight fit. So there's no need for stitching this one. These are really tight. The wrapping is done solid and the screws are in perfectly. Just a little bit of advice from my side, don't forget to do markings again, because the gap between here isn't necessarily the same. So as you can see here, I had to do a second marking, and write on a piece of paper which one is the second marking, because if you end up using the wrong markings, you know, you're trying to screw into here, and you don't find the hole underneath, you mess up your entire wrapping and you have to redo that, and this is just gonna prolong the process. So yeah, another bit of advice, I said earlier, I prefer using hand tools instead of power tools, because you actually notice if you find that hole, and if you don't, and if you try to screw into that pole, you can feel that resistance. Same thing here, if you don't do that, if you use a power tool, it might it might mess up the wrapping, and then you have to redo that all again. So just use a normal screwdriver and it's a nice and clean fit. Cool, so this will be it. Total work of that all, probably what, 10 minutes tops, if so. So it's nice and easy, see, like everyone can do it. As I said, if you do the stitching, if you have bigger heads, if you have a lot more wig, or if you do you want to do the stitching takes up most of the time. It'll probably be another 10 minutes per side to do that all, because it's so solid of a fabric, and but it'll be worth it in the end. It'll last a lot longer. In case of this devil stick, I'm not actually fussed, because I know my friend's gonna use that for another half year, and then we're gonna redo it anyway, so I can save myself the trouble. Cool. Alright everybody, that was it for this tutorial. The devil stick is all ready to go. I can't wait to give this to my friend, and or have a play with it myself. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope it was helpful for you guys. I hope you actually got a lot of knowledge out there, how to repair your fire gear, how to sort of build fire gear, attach Kevlar wig. Remember, check out the links below about where to get wig and what. If you have any questions, or if you want me to cover any other sort of bit of fire gear building or repairing, something like that, just put it in the comments below and I'll try to get onto it. Send me a message or all that kind of jazz. And yeah, please feel free to subscribe to that channel, like the video if you do, share if you want, and until I see you next time, love and sunshine my friends, it's Rainbow, and I'll see you around.